And now your host, Ryan Hensley.
Yes, what's going on, everybody? It's Thursday, man. Rohan, it's Thursday morning. The Niners play today, man. How excited are you today?
Hey man, I mean it's a different Thursday feeling than what we usually have. We've had a show a couple of times. We have our Thursday show, but this is different because we got game day today. It's a nice little game day show, a little bit of a twist, but excited to talk shop. And I mean, 49ers, they're playing football. Everyone's excited.
Yeah, man, it's cool because we do our Thursday shows, which is usually 3-4 days ahead of the actual game. But today is game day, man. So we got a lot to talk about with these Giants. I'm looking forward to it. I got a lot of good questions for Rohan. Can't wait for this show. So thanks everyone for being here. Much appreciated. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about real quick though. Actually, before we dive in too quick, I want to say hi to everybody. Nick Nice, what's up, man? I don't think I've seen you in here before. Maybe you changed your name, whatever, but welcome to the show. Kim is here. Always love when we get a female perspective. Thank you for being here, Kim. There's too many men here, so thank you for being here. Much appreciated. TC, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you. All you guys are tapping in. Great to see you. 49er Jeff, Tantara. Maybe I'm saying that right. Maybe I'm not. I'm trying my best. I promise you. 49er Jeff, SF Bay drummer. What's up, man? And then Niner Gang, is the most optimistic Niner fan in history. I love his energy. Thank you guys for being here. Eddie G's in the building. What's up, Eddie? Thanks for being here, man. All right, guys, let's dive into the show, man. I got a lot of good things planned. Make sure if you haven't yet, you like this video for me. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Want to keep growing for sure. All right, Roro, let's talk. Does your mom call you Roro, by the way?
Sometimes it's just most times playing Rohan, but sometimes, yeah.
If I had a kid named Rohan, I would call him Roro all day long, or Ro. But
Ro sometimes too, yeah.
And then I would sing "You Can't Play with My Roro." I used to. I don't know. It's probably before your time. Do you remember Yo-Yo, the rapper?
I do not, unfortunately.
See,
before my time.
Song
Too young.
Ice Cube and Yo-Yo, and it was called "You Can't Play with My Yo-Yo." And that was the melody. I would substitute Yo-Yo with Roro.
But make it work.
This probably isn't that important right now, considering it's game day. So let's talk about 49ers, man. Daniel Jones, man. What are your overall thoughts on Daniel Jones?
Hey, I mean, Daniel Jones is an interesting guy. I mean, I'll say this. Maybe not a lot of people will agree with me. I've been a slight fan of Daniel Jones throughout the last few years since he got drafted. I do a lot of draft prep, and that's where I get to know these prospects. And I like Daniel Jones a little bit coming out of the draft. Now, did I like him to take him at the number 6 overall pick? No. I would not have taken him at number 6 overall probably. But, I liked Daniel Jones a little bit coming out of the draft. So I've always had a bit of a soft feeling for Daniel Jones, especially understanding the circumstances which he's played in New York. But he's an average level quarterback. I don't know if he's a franchise guy. He's an average level quarterback that I still think has untapped potential this far into his career because of how he's been utilized thus far. But average level quarterback, fine arm strength, fine, solid enough athleticism. And really the main thing for him is just not turning the football over, because that was the biggest issue with him throughout the early portion of his career.
Yeah, I actually like Daniel Jones. I know a lot of Niner fans give him a hard time because he doesn't seem to perform well, but I just think a biggest part of that is, one, his offensive coordinator prior years, not as much this year, but in prior years, and his offensive line is maybe one of the worst in the NFL. He has no protection. If you watch that Cowboys game, he got sacked 7 times. He was under pressure the whole time. But if you really, really watch it and dive in, he was able to avoid a ton of pressure. I know he got sacked 7 times, but he was still so mobile that he was able to avoid a ton of pressure. I think if Daniel Jones was on the 49ers, I think he'd be pretty damn good, honestly. So I actually respect Daniel Jones. I think he's a good quarterback, but I think he's going to struggle tonight against the 49ers for sure.
I mean, I think so too. I said this last week, and maybe you can call me out for eating my words or something like that. But I said the 49ers would dominate the Rams last week. And again, the score, a 7-point game, wasn't necessarily how indicative of how the game ended because of the last minute field goal. And the Rams played better than I expected with their offense because I wasn't a fan of the 49ers defensive approach. But I think it's a similar sentiment this week, especially with the injuries, with no true running game. I mean, they got Matt Breida, but you're going to have a struggle in the run game, at least to the left side where they normally have their chunk plays because no Andrew Thomas, no left guard and Ben Bredesen either. You're missing your entire starting, line on the left side. You're also missing Saquon Barkley. And so that means it's more pressure on Daniel Jones. And against this defensive line, which we're waiting for that true breakout game. Well, we had a really good one in week 1, but one of those really, really competitive efforts where you see it spiral on for the remainder of the season. I think that type of effort is there in week 3 because the Giants operate differently. They hold on to the ball a little more. They try for shot plays rather than dumping it off and trying to move quickly. And so I think that plan might just not work well against the 49ers and the way that they operate defensively.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, if you look at his numbers, I should have had him prepared better for you guys, but Daniel Jones is actually really good when he's not under pressure. It's when he's under pressure, when he struggles. He does hold the ball too long, which probably creates more pressure than he would if he got rid of it quicker. But under pressure, he's not good. And I hate to break it to Daniel Jones and Giants fans, but this evening he's going to be under pressure. The Cowboys sacked Daniel Jones 7 times. The Cardinals sacked him 3 times. We're going to get into some predictions a little bit later, but I'm curious what you think the Niners are going to do to Daniel Jones. If the Cowboys are sacking him 7 times and the Cardinals are sacking him 3 times, how many sacks are the Niners going to get? And is Bosa going to end his drought? 0 sacks in 5 games, 1 sack over the last 7.
I mean, I think it has to happen, right? If you're talking about Daniel Jones and the way that the Giants operate, like I said, it's tough because the Daniel Jones likes these shot plays. He holds on to the ball. I believe his average time to throw is around 3 seconds, which is much lower than the regular norm for quarterbacks. And you're right. When you look at the numbers, Daniel Jones is much worse under pressure and a pretty crisp passer in the pocket when he's not under pressure. But there's one of those things that's going to happen on Thursday, and that is pressure. The 49ers are going to create pressure, and this is just with their 4 down linemen. You also saw Steve Wilkes amp up the aggressiveness in the second half, and that might mean more blitzes, which means even more pressure, And so to me, I don't necessarily know exactly. I can't necessarily pinpoint a sack number, but I do believe the pressure rate might be above 30% or 35%, which is a significant task for any defense, let alone the 49ers defense. But I think the pressure rate is going to be above 35%, and I'm going to predict probably at least 3 sacks on the day.
Yeah, I'm going to say 5, 6. I'm going to say 6 sacks. That's
6 sacks. There we go.
6 sacks is today's bold prediction. We're going to actually get into some bold predictions in a second, but real quick, one more thing on Daniel Jones. And maybe this is part of the next topic, but the 49ers tend to struggle against mobile quarterbacks. If they do struggle, I mean, it's not like they're getting their ass kicked by mobile quarterbacks in general, but I mean, outside of a couple guys. But if you look at the quarterbacks that have been effective against the 49ers defense, it's the mobile quarterbacks. And Daniel Jones is one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. Does that concern you at all? Do you have any concerns in regards to Daniel Jones and his mobility?
This is the main concern I have with the 49ers going into this week. It's the mobile quarterback. Because when you think about games like this, where the 49ers are favored by over 10.5 points, where the 49ers have all of the hype going into the games, for me, unfortunately, I tend to think a little more negatively and just instead of thinking about how we can win the game, because that's the obvious portion, I think about what are the reasons of why we could lose this game. And if you point to it, I think that's the number one reason. The lack of contain against a mobile quarterback, because we've seen it hurt the 49ers in the past. The number one example is Russell Wilson, because of his ability to make a 3rd and 12, scramble, get a first down. The third down conversion kind of rate that Russell Wilson had with his ability to be a dual threat quarterback. And I mean, the 49ers have seen it time and time again. You look at last year, Justin Fields, week 1, you talk about other mobile quarterbacks where they've just struggled to overall make the contain and kind of keep them in the pocket, which obviously allows for more opportunities. This is an issue. And Daniel Jones is a bit of a different quarterback, right? He's not he's not the most fastest quarterback in the NFL or anything like that. Instead, he's like a sneaky athlete who has the IQ to take off and run when he needs to take off and run. To me, the 49ers defense needs to get off the field, and it starts with containing the quarterback. And I'm not sure if I have, supreme confidence that they will based on their history.
Yeah, man. So this is the next topic I wanted to talk to you about. Giant threat, just a way of asking you and talking about the threats in this game for the 49ers. I mean, we're going to get into predictions later. I'm going to tell you right now, I expect the 49ers to win handedly.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, it's good to talk about these things. If the Giants win, why do they win? And I know you talked about Daniel Jones already. And so, maybe you can touch more on that. But are there any other threats that the 49ers face against the Giants this evening?
Yeah, I think that if you look at it, like I said, the number one threat, which surprisingly, I mean, not a lot of people hold Daniel Jones in that regard, but it's his legs. With Saquon Barkley out, you're going to need to find a way to create opportunities in the run game. Would not be surprised if you see an amp up in designed runs for Daniel Jones as well. Not only just the scrambles, that's the part that I was talking about, but the RPO, that action where you have quick passing and also designed runs. Would not be surprised if the Giants go to that to try and set up some of the deeper stuff later on. Threats, though, when you look at it, I'm going to point to their defense. I'm not sure how well their offense is going to look at it. The number one threat, and this is a threat, again, the 49ers have struggled with in the past, and this is strong defensive tackles. You look at last year, I can point to different games. Week 6, the 49ers faced off against Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett had a monster game in that week against Jake Brendel. You see the 49ers and their offense, some of it is centered around that interior. You talk about inside zone concepts and things like that. You talk about even interior pass rush. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He is a disruptor not only in the run game, but he can also be a disruptor in the pass game. And I'm not as confident in the remainder of the guys that are on that defensive line, but Dexter Lawrence is a guy who had 7.5 sacks last year, who can be a force, and that's why they're able to employ 3 down linemen on certain packages. I think that matchup on the interior against maybe a Jake Brendel or against maybe a Spencer Burford or whoever it may be, that is a marquee matchup to watch, because when you're just trying to think about what can disrupt the 49ers from efficiently operating their game plan, it's something like Dexter Lawrence. Now, do I think that himself is going to somehow, change the complete outlook of this game? No, unfortunately, football doesn't work where one player can do that. But if I'm looking at another threat, Dexter Lawrence is the number one guy I'm looking at. But in 49ers fans' defense, outside of that, I'm honestly having a tough time finding a significant threat to the 49ers outside of that.
Yeah, I agree, man. And, Dexter Lawrence I watched Jesse's podcast, Behind Enemy Lines. That's one of the guys they mentioned as being somebody that slept on. Jesse thinks he's the most underrated player in the NFL. So Dexter Lawrence is a good pick. I also, yeah, and I also agree with your take on Daniel Jones. I think those are the two threats. I mean, if Saquon Barkley was playing, I would be concerned about Saquon Barkley a little bit. But obviously, I think the 49ers are going to win this game handily. I'm going to give you guys my score prediction in a little bit. But, yeah, those are the only two threats that I could really come up with is, despite the Giants looking like a XFL team against the Cowboys, they do have good, decent pass rushers. And, Saquon Barkley is the guy. He's not playing. Daniel Jones is extremely mobile. And the Niners have, had adversity with that in the past. So those would be my only concerns. But again, I don't expect the Giants to win. So let me talk to you about this. Bold predictions, brother. I like to get bold predictions sometimes. Let me start off with my bold prediction,
Go for it.
and then I'll get yours. But for me, the bold prediction I have. So I see Brandon Ayuk, who's kind of nursing his shoulder. I think he's going to play because it was reported that if it's just basically about pain at this point, right? There's no
Right.
actual injury, and if he can tolerate the pain, he can play. So I expect Brandon Ayuk to play. He's in a contract year, and that's just the guy's mentality. He's a tough son of a bitch, right? He's gonna play if it's up to him. The only way he doesn't is if the training staff says, we don't want you to play, or Kyle's just being extra cautious. But I think Brandon Ayuk's going to start. I think he's going to play, but I think he's going to have a little bit of reduction in snaps in his role, what they ask him to do. I could be wrong. He may come out and be Brandon Ayuk like normal. I also think that the Giants are going to get their ass handed to them today. And because of that, I think Brandon Ayuk's going to play a little less than he probably normally would. And I think Kyle's going to be in his bag. And I think Ronnie Bell is going to score his first touchdown in the NFL tonight. That's my bold prediction. Let's stay away from the final score, if you don't mind, in the final outcome. But what do you think first of all, what do you think of Ronnie Bell scoring a touchdown tonight? And then what bold prediction may you have?
Yeah, Ronnie Bell will be an interesting one. I wonder. I mean, I don't think the 49ers are going to inactive any of their receivers given the Ayuk injury and potential of what could happen there. Ronnie Bell is the interesting one. He definitely could. I wonder how much he'll see the field. And if it's a blowout game, you do want him to see the field right in the second half where he might get some of those touches for a touchdown. Don't hate it. What was your first one again?
That was it. Ronnie Bell.
Oh, got it.
Ronnie Bell scoring a touchdown. I know it's a bold prediction. I'll probably be freaking wrong, but I don't know. I've been watching the Niners for so long. This is going to sound stupid, Ron, but it is what it is. Maybe I'm stupid, but I've been watching the 49ers for so damn long that sometimes I just get these instincts like this is going to happen. I don't know why. What's weird too is I know this offense so damn well. I watch it with my kids, and I predict the plays before they happen, and I'm probably right about 75-80% of the time. My kids trip out. I'm like, well, here comes a run to the left. Here comes, a screen to so and so, and my kids trip out on it. But yeah, no, it's just a feeling I have. I think I think they're going to kick their ass. Kyle's going to get in his bag and get creative. They're going to be playing some of the players that may not get many looks by the fourth quarter, and I think Ronnie Bell's going to be the guy, man. That's just my gut feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. I just got a little feeling. So
hey, I like it. I like it. You going bold, and that's exactly what bold predictions are for. Yes. I'll go with two. One's more on the positive side. One's more on the negative side. I think one of the 3-star defensive linemen is going to get 2 sacks in this game. When you look at this Giants offensive line, it's just not good without Andrew Thomas. Horrible. Andrew Thomas, I was very high on coming out of the draft. I had him as my top tackle, and he's performed to expectations. He's been a premier left tackle in the NFL. You look at the remainder of that offensive line. Evan Neal was a guy who came out with a lot of hype, I believe, in 2021, that draft where they had Ike Ekwonu too. Evan Neal has been one of the worst right tackles in the NFL since he's come to the NFL. A lot of time to grow still, but not great returns in year 1, year 2 now. John Michael Schmitz, he's the rookie there at center. They're playing a rookie center. You got Marcus McCathan, I believe, at right guard, a guy without significant experience, another young guy who I believe is I think he's a second-year player, but he didn't play last year. And then you're playing a guy who plays guard in Joshua Zudu over there at left tackle, or a guy who was projected at guard. He's going to play at left tackle. So a lot of mix-up. I just think one of the 2 or one of the 3 top players is going to get 2 sacks in this game. I have a feeling just that, you're going to see a lot of pressure, and it might just be a collective effort, 5 sacks, 5 different players, but I have a feeling one of the stars is getting at least 2 sacks. And then my second prediction, you might not think this is the team to do it, but that's the reason why I think it's going to happen. I unfortunately think Brock Purdy will throw his first interception of the year tonight. The reason being, I think the 49ers are going to try and test out this Giants team down the field. I think they might be a little more aggressive, understanding the circumstances. And I think that might result in the first interception for Brock Purdy on the season tonight, potentially to a safety, maybe to a corner. But I think, it might not be anticipated against this Giants team. But I do think the first interception is going to come tonight for Brock Purdy.
That is a bold take. He doesn't have any yet. I think he's maybe thrown one or two possible balls that were kind of dangerous all season. So
Yeah.
that's a bold take, man. That'd be interesting to
Yeah, I could
follow up.
eat my words. The Giants have 0 picks against the Cowboys and then against the Cardinals last week. So we'll see.
Well, they're due. I guess. I mean, you can look at things from two different perspectives, right? You can look at numbers and say Brock Purdy has yet to throw an interception, so therefore he's not the kind of guy to throw an interception. You can look at it like, oh, the Giants have not got an interception, so they're don't seem to be the kind of team that's going to get an interception. Or you could look at it the opposite way, which means eventually they have to, and so maybe they're due. But yeah, that's a good prediction, man. We'll see what happens. Want to talk to you about this guy, man? Let's share some Twitter sphere stuff. All right, here we go, man.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see it. Christian McCaffrey is trending 2,278 rushing yards, which would top Eric Dickerson's all-time record of 2,105 set in 1984. It is tough to continue at that trajectory, but it does speak highly of his performance so far in his first 2 games and also shows how ridiculous Eric Dickerson was. It's hard to continue at this trajectory, Ro, but what do you think his chances are? Do you think he could break that record?
I don't think so, just because I do think, like Kyle Shanahan said this week, the 49ers are going to temper down his volume, because the whole point of getting Christian McCaffrey is not for personal accolades, and that's obviously a good portion of how success and greatness is defined, but it's more so to keep him healthy for the playoffs. I do think his volume will temper down a little bit, setting down that rushing yard number, but a lot of people pegged Christian McCaffrey as a potential 1,000 guy, with the ball kind of being spread around a lot more this year rather than kind of fixating on certain targets. A ball's being spread around a lot more, and also the receivers are getting a significant portion of the action. I don't know if he'll reach 1,000 yards receiving, but the lack of volume in the receiving game might increase the volume in the running game. And so you might see him get 17 carries a game. 17 carries for Christian McCaffrey, that's 100 yards. I mean, with the way that he's being efficient, or maybe 85 yards. And so I could see 1,500 rushing yards from Christian McCaffrey this year, which might have not been anticipated at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, good point. RJ Money, man, my guy RJ. I do want to point this out. I mean, this is I figure this is somebody would say 17 games now, so it doesn't count. But if you take away a game at this pace, he still breaks that record. He's averaging, what is it? Or am I tripping? 386.
He had 116 and then he had 152. So you average that out, 134 a game.
Yeah, 134 a game. So yeah, he would still break that record even at 16 games.
Yeah, that's 2,144 yards. So that would still be broken.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it, honestly, because that's very hard to do over a long period of time. I think he's, just starting quick, and they'll be more balanced as the season goes on. But it is really impressive showing you what he's doing. Also, what's very impressive is Eric Dickerson actually did this. That's nuts. It's before a lot of people's time, before Ro's time. I don't think Rohan was even born when this happened. But I was 5 years old. I remember Eric Dickerson not breaking the record, but I do remember him as a player. So, yeah, it's interesting. And then you brought up a good point, too. CMC only is trending 300, and I think he has 36 receiving yards. He's only trending 306 receiving yards on the season. Do you expect that trend to go up, or do you think it's going to go down or stay at the same, or what do you expect?
I honestly think the reasoning, I see a good question from Ray about why the volume has not been as high. I think there are a couple of reasons for it. One, I think it's due to the opponent. Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh, their defense, and also the defense we faced in the Rams last week. You could point to their corners not being as strong. Pittsburgh had a rookie corner in Joey Porter. The Rams, their corners are Darion Kendrick, and then I forget the name of the second one, but the strength isn't their corners. And also the 49ers, the reason Christian McCaffrey got such high volume last year, it's not like the progressions changed for Brock Purdy or anything like that, or Jimmy Garoppolo. It was that they wanted to hit Christian McCaffrey either early in the progression, or they went through progressions and then found McCaffrey. The difference this year, the early progressions are open, very open. Like when you look at Brock Purdy and the way he's been executing at a high level, but he's executing throwing to open receivers early in the progression, which you normally don't see on a consistent basis in NFL offenses. But the 49ers have been able to do that, be it scheme, be it route running, whatever you want to call it, be it execution from the quarterback, that's there. And so that's why CMC's volume hasn't been as high. I do not expect this to be the trajectory, but I do expect it to be volatile this year. I don't think McCaffrey's only going to get 15 receiving yards a game, something like that. He's too valuable not to. And the volume indicates that he can get more. He got 5 targets in week 1, only 3 in this past week. But the 49ers also, they're rushing him a good amount. And so you do want to be wary of the amount of volume you give him overall. I do think, though, instead of maybe him getting a baseline of 50 yards a game in the receiving game, he'll probably be a little more volatile this year.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I think I agree with you, sir. All right, let's talk about this. These two fellas have never lost a game when they started and finished together. It's pretty remarkable. What are the numbers? I honestly, I should have looked at this a long time ago, but you hear like 9, 10, 11. How many games have these two started and finished together, Rohan? Do you know the number?
That's interesting. So they started, if you're just looking at it, they started together in week 14 first last year because Garoppolo got injured in week 13. So that's 5 weeks of the regular season that they started and won, 2 games in the playoffs last year, and then another 2 games. So that is 9-0 right now that these two have started together and finished that they have won together. Pretty much.
And I think, right. And CMC is 12-0. I mean, you could say 12-1 if you count that Chiefs game where he was added to the team 3 days before the game, and he was kind of inserted strangely here and there. So I don't really count that game, honestly. If you look at the following week, CMC is 12-0 when he starts and finishes the game for the 49ers. That's remarkable, man. Like, I mean, again, people think I'm super. And we're going to talk about Brock Purdy a lot coming up. People think I'm like a Brock Purdy hater. It's actually not true. I pointed it out a long time ago how good I thought he was in the preseason. This is something, though, that does need to be talked about. I don't think quarterback wins are necessarily wins are necessarily a quarterback stat alone, but it is impressive what Brock Purdy has been able to do. I mean, that's minimalizing what he's actually done. Again, I know it's a team stat, and a lot of quarterbacks would have success on this team, but you have to take your hat off to Brock Purdy, who has never lost a game that he has started and finished. And then these two combined are just deadly. So it's just remarkable, man. Do you remember any situation like this for a quarterback to be drafted this late in the game and have this kind of success?
No, it's unprecedented. That's why you're talking about, Brock Purdy and the historic stuff that you saw last year, all the different kind of, whatever was attributed to him. The reason is because of how unprecedented the situation is and also how quickly it evolved. You're not expecting a 7th round pick to come in and, in his first game and light the stat sheet up, He did, though. And so this has definitely been an outstanding, a historic kind of storyline for Brock Purdy. Now, the reason that I think a lot of people get muddled in between and then some people get called out in a negative sense about Brock Purdy is because what I do is I separate the storyline from the true play, because the storyline is impressive. The play, though, is what I'm truly evaluating in grades and in things like that, and in trying to sense whether the 49ers are going to win a Super Bowl and things like that. But you talk about the storyline, you just pointed out 9-0 when these two have started a game together. McCaffrey, you can extend that streak a little bit longer. I know the NFC Championship game he lost and things like that, but I mean, it's very, very impressive. And as to why you think this has happened, I mean, if you look at it, we can point out a couple of games where Brock has not struggled, but made mistakes where the 49ers have costed points. Hell, the Rams game as an example. And it just shows truly the foundation of this team, how strong it is, because Brock Purdy had 3 throws last week that he would have wanted back, 2 of which could have resulted in touchdowns that ended up in punted drives. And the 49ers scored 30 points and comfortably won because the Rams, were down 2 possessions at the end of the game until the last play. You could have had 44 points in this game if you had executed well. And it's not like when you look at a lot of those passes, it's not like anything was like, it's not like it wasn't a wow play or anything like that, but it's not like anything was something you wouldn't expect Brock Purdy to hit because he's that type of quarterback, And so that's just the foundation of this offense is so strong that you were just waiting for so long now to have the right pieces in it. Kyle Shanahan believes that Brock Purdy was that missing piece finally at quarterback. We'll see if that's true, but the storyline, like I said, is astounding.
Yeah, man. And we're going to talk about Brock Purdy in more depth here coming up shortly. Before we do that, though, I want to get your assistance, man. I feel like, again, I always talk about what a smart guy you are. So I figured I might as well use that brain for financial gain.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So I've been sponsored by Underdog Fantasy for, I don't know, 6 months or so. So if you don't belong to Underdog Fantasy, you can join Underdog Fantasy. And if you use the promo code Hensley, they will match your initial deposit of up to $100. Jesse and Grant have been playing the over-under game for quite a bit. And so I decided to steal this and do it on my show. So Jesse and Grant, I appreciate it. Thank you. I just snatched your show topic. So I appreciate it. But I got Rohan here, who is essentially a genius. And if I don't win, I'm going to change my view on that. But I'm going to kind of depend on Rohan here. We're gonna spend my money, a whole $30, and
Okay.
we're gonna see what we can do here.
No.
This is Underdog Fantasy. There is this Tyreek Hill play if you guys want to. It's over or under 85. It's a special. If you participate it, you can actually get 100K. But we're not going to do that. We're going to focus on this game. We got to do one Giants player, and we got to do 4 49ers players. This one is, to me, Daniel Jones.
I think you know what I'm going to say, and I think you know it too. Go ahead.
This higher than a half interception. Is that what you're going for?
I was actually going to go for the rushing yards. I think higher than 37.5. I think he's actually going to be their leading rusher on the day. But I could see the interceptions one definitely panning out too.
No. I'm going to go with what you say. So Rohan says higher. We're going to go all Rohan. And if this works, we're going to do this every week, and you're going to make me rich. But we're going to go with higher than 37.5 rushing yards for Daniel Jones. So let's go down to the Niners. We'll skip all these. Unless is there another Giants one that you want to jump on, or do you want to focus on Niners?
I don't know. Another Giants one.
They got a Matt Breida one, 31.5 rushing yards. They got Darren Waller, 4.5 receptions.
I feel like that Breida's got to be a higher. I'm not sure, just because I haven't read on what the split would be, but like if he's the starter, 31.5, you run it like 13 times or something, you're going to get 31.5 yards. At least I'd assume. But that one's an interesting one. But I think, we're a 49ers show. We can keep it 49ers. If I want to come back to one of these, we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll keep that one in mind. They got a lot of Giants ones. All right, let's talk Brock Purdy, man. The choices are, I feel like I need to go on this one, which is 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think this over 7.5 rushing yards is probably possible as well. But yeah, so for Brock Purdy, they got over 1.5 touchdowns, over 227. And you can actually not over. You can go higher or lower on this game. So you can say higher or lower than 1.5 passing touchdowns. 227 passing yards, 7.5 rushing yards, 28.5 passing attempts. I think I might go under on that one, to be honest.
I might go under on that, yeah.
Yeah, the completions higher than 20. Which one? Sacks, 2 taken. He's averaged 2 sacks per game so far. What do you think? Is there one on here that jumps out to you for Brock Purdy?
I'd probably take the under on the passing attempts. I mean, he threw 26 in week 1, 25 in week 2. And week 2 was a closer game. Probably take the under on the 28.5. I don't anticipate the 49ers throwing that much in this game.
Agreed. All right, man. Let's talk Christian McCaffrey. This one's tough because I feel like they're going to be smacking the Giants, and they might even pull out Christian McCaffrey at some point. But over under 77.5 rushing yards is an option. You could do the 4 receptions, 17 rushing attempts. Is there one that's like an easy money one here for you? I mean, the 21 fantasy points, that might be.
Yeah, that could be. The way that I'm looking at it, McCaffrey, the reason that I like that rushing prop potentially is because when you look at it, McCaffrey has gotten 1 major carry in each of the last 2 games. And actually, when I was looking at some props on my own, not betting, of course, but I'm just looking at props on my own. I think the longest rush one that I saw was like 16 and a half. And I think that every time I see the longest rush for McCaffrey in the, in the under 18 in a way, I take that prop because McCaffrey has gotten one of those explosives, and that's what's really led to a significant rushing yard total. Because last week he had a 51-yard carry, I think ended with 116 yards, and then week one he had a 66-yard touchdown or whatever the touchdown total was. So that's why I'm inclined to potentially go, on the over for the rushing yards. I think that you could see something like that, even though I don't know if he'll get 17 rushing attempts in this one.
Yeah, let's look at all of them and let's figure out which one you think is the for sure thing. Because we got three bets we can make still. They got Elijah Mitchell just for over or under 29.5 rushing yards. That's kind of hard to predict. They got Deebo Samuel over 14.5 rushing yards, over 53 receiving yards, over 72 combined, 38 yards after catch, 12.9 fantasy points, 7.5 targets. Honestly, I think less than 7.5 targets is probably a good bet.
I think it's probably high because they might be anticipating Ayuk maybe out, but in their fairness, Deebo has gotten, I think, 7 targets in week 1, 9 targets in week 2. So maybe, yeah.
Let's look at Kittle's over under 42 receiving yards, 22 after catch, 8.9 fantasy points, 5.5 targets. That's a tough one.
Kittle is tough. Yeah. But
you never know
one I like. I'm gonna, if we're going with it, Jake Moody over 1.5 field goals made. I think the 49ers score a couple of times tonight. I think they kicked 2 field goals.
Boom. All right, locked in. We need 2 more picks. They got Fred Warner over under 8 tackles and assists. Huff over under 5 tackles and assists. Greenlaw over 7.5 tackles and assists. One of these jump out at you?
I mean, the linebackers are definitely capable of getting that many tackles, especially, Warner, Greenlaw. You've seen them get 10 tackle games and things like that. But I don't know if their tackle numbers have been that high to start the year. I think, well, I'm assuming this is total. But the 8 makes it, you have to get 9, right, for that to hit?
Yes, correct.
That's a little
or
tough.
8.5. I think you can get an assist, which makes it a half, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that one's wary. I think one that I'm more confident in was one of the Giants ones, probably Darren Waller. I think it was at 45.5. I think they're going to target him a good amount. Probably would hit the over on that.
45 receiving yards.
Yeah, probably hit the over on that.
Okay, hit the high
because he had a good
what
amount.
Should we do receptions? 4.5 receptions. Is it the yards or receptions? Which
I would go with the receiving yards one because he could have a big play. And 49ers, their defense sometimes accustomed to some big plays. So yeah,
I'm not going to question. I'm just going to trust you.
Hey, I mean this one here wins $300 if you hit all 4.
Yeah, watch the next one will pop it up to 600. So we got to if we get to 5
now you money.
Yeah, you can insure it. And I'm only wagering $30, right? So if I lose, I lose. But okay, we need one more pick, man. We need one more. We can't do Brock. Let's go back to CMC.
I think the one that I'm going to hit is that over on the rushing yards. Might be a little tough, but I think that, if we're sending it, that might be the one.
Well, boom. All right. Well, you guys, I am, let's see what the wager would be. Where does it show the wager? I don't know. It is $600. $600. If we win, I'm going to hit some money. Boom. What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's because I'm on my thing. Oh, waiting on location. Allow. No, I don't want to do all this, guys. It's because I'm not. It's because I'm on my my laptop and not my actual phone. I do this all the time from my phone. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this and I'm going to place the bet on my phone after we're done here. All right, man.
Hey,
so
there we go.
That's Underdog Fantasy. Again, make sure you guys go hit like and subscribe. Go hit the link and use the promo code Hensley to get $100 matched in your credit. Rohan, I want to do a little shameless plug here, man. For those who don't know, I started a new YouTube account called You Should Do This. I've been doing this for 11 months. We got 5,200 something subscribers. People ask me all the time to talk about real estate, talk about credit, talk about all this and that, ask me parenting questions. They ask me, everything. So I started a new channel because the rule with YouTube is new channel, different subject, different channel. So that's what we're doing. This is the intro. I'm going to play it for you guys for the new channel. If you get time, I put the link in the original chat. It may be there, may not be there. All you have to do is search at "you should do this," and you will get to my channel. I got 102 subs, I think, on that channel already. We've been only live for 24 hours. Haven't put out a video yet, but I would really appreciate your guys' support on that if you want to go subscribe to that channel. Let me pay the promo. This is myself and my beautiful wife. So look, I've been through quite a bit of stuff. I think Rohan interviewed me once and we went over it, but like I've seen a lot. I started at the bottom, now I'm here, I guess is a good expression. I slept in my car. I was, in the streets hustling at a young age. I could have been killed multiple times. I've been shot at, stabbed. I've been tied up in a garage at gunpoint. I've seen a lot. And I went from that to the man I am today. I've raised 4 kids. They're all smart, good kids, never been in trouble in their life. They're in college. They're just great kids. We were on welfare at one point. Now we own real estate. We're doing really good. We're comfortable. We're taking vacations. I don't have a college degree. I did it all from freaking hustle. I've done a million different things. I have 2 U.S. utility patents. I have multiple businesses. I can tell you how to fix your credit. I can tell you how to buy real estate. I can help you with all those things. And that's what this other channel is about. So if you guys would be so kind, if you haven't yet, please at some point go to that channel, subscribe. I'm going to be dropping like a video a week, maybe something like that. Just some informational things. And then we'll probably also go live and have conversations. I can answer questions, Q&As, all that good stuff. So I wanted to plug that, man. Rohan, are you subscribed to my channel yet, bro?
I am not. I actually am finding out, I found out about it on my stream, did not realize the channel was created. I will subscribe, but I'll say this, as a person, as an outsider who has not experienced a lot of the things you have, that's why this community is great, because you see a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds come together, be able to talk football, but also understand that you have lives outside of football that everybody cares about. Salute you for, going through some of the tougher times in your life, and we'll definitely be tuning in.
I appreciate it, man. I got a couple of people in this comments that know me well. Cullivan, I probably haven't seen. I actually have gone golfing with Josh Cullivan. He's here. We went golfing, but I didn't really see him much after high school until about 10 years ago. My guy Melvin Pillion, who is here, a Cowboys friend, good friend of mine. He knows about all these things. He was there for pretty much all of it, so he can attest to everything I'm talking about. But anyways, man, I appreciate the support. Trying to just expand into other things. All right, let's get into something I wanted to talk about, which was grading Brock Purdy. And I'm talking about this first before I talk about the next subject, because these are my thoughts on Brock Purdy, and they really have never changed. Brock Purdy last year, I predict he's going to make the 53-man roster. I said I'm intrigued by Brock Purdy. I think he's a playmaker. I said the season of Brock Purdy is upon us once Trey went down. I've liked Brock Purdy for a long time, and people don't think that I do because I've supported Trey Lance. And really, when it comes to Trey Lance, I just hated the unfair judgment of Trey Lance. And that's what really motivated me to constantly speak on him, because I feel like people were overly critical for no reason. But as far as Brock Purdy, man, my thoughts haven't changed. These are my grades for Brock Purdy. I don't think any of this has really changed for me throughout my entire time of watching Brock Purdy. Wanted to get your take on it, man. I know there are a lot of grades, but I just want to see what you think and if you would change anything. This is a tweet. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you can go at Ryan G. Hensley. But grading Brock Purdy, leadership, I give him an A+, processing A+, decision making A+, intelligence A+, footwork A, anticipation A, vision A, toughness A, instincts A, accuracy A-, release B, mobility B, pocket presence B, durability C, size C-, arm strength C-. The last 4 on his short game, I give him an A+, intermediate A++, one of the best in the NFL, at least this season. Deep, C-, and honestly, I think I'm being a little generous with the C-. Super deep, 0. He's not in A, does not qualify. He can't go super deep. I think this is pretty damn fair. These have been my thoughts on Brock Purdy the whole time, Rohan, but would you agree or disagree with these grades? What would you change?
I gotta just say this. This is some very good, strong praise for Brock Purdy. A lot of people, will hate on people saying they're Brock Purdy haters or whatever for being objective. This is some strong praise. When you look at some of those skills at the very top and the grades that you're seeing, processing, one of the most important things for a quarterback, decision making. I mean, IQ, footwork, anticipation, vision, toughness, instincts, accuracy, all are in the A- to A range. That is some very strong praise. I mean, moreover, I agree with the majority of what you have, and I think that this is true. You see, leadership-wise, you see how his teammates talk about him. You see how his teammates have rallied around a second-year quarterback, who was a 7th-round pick, an afterthought coming into the league. His processing is pretty strong. I do think that that's probably his strongest skill. I would probably notch decision-making down a little bit. I do think that that is more because what we've seen this year in just 2 games. I do think that when you look at the overall body of work, probably would notch that down a little bit. Very intelligent quarterback. We knew that. Footwork, I will probably get notched down just a little bit as well. I think that sometimes you'll see him get happy feet or more so roll out of the pocket at times when unnecessary. I kind of attribute that a little more to footwork. But apart from that, I mean, it's pretty darn good. Probably would also increase pocket presence a little bit more. Maybe a B+. I can't give him an A just because of the times he scrambles out of the pocket. But I think that when he's just the sense of rushers around him, he has a good sense of that. But I mean, pretty darn good. Maybe not just arm strength up to a C, but I mean, who cares? It's all the same. Pretty darn good. And I mean, this is a pretty darn good quarterback profile if you look at it.
Yeah, so let's answer some questions some of these guys are having. Rohan, by the way, are you monetized? I forgot to ask you.
I am, yes, on my channel.
So if any of you guys want to throw a super chat, Rohan's way, you can watch it on his channel. He's dual streaming this thing. I'm not going to be monetized again. They demonetized me on August 16th, September 16th, August 16th, and I'll be back November 16th with the monetization. But if you do want to send a super chat Rohan's way, he would like it, and he's dual streaming, so you can go do that there. Real quick, durability. I'm going to answer some of these questions because
go for it.
There's some context. Durability. Notice that there's 2 things here. There's durability right here. There's also toughness. I give him an A. So remember, I want you guys to separate the 2 because I had some questions on Twitter. Like, what do you mean? You played with the broken ribs? Okay, well, his ribs were broken. All right, he's played what, 12 games? Is it 12?
Yeah, around 12
games.
Yeah,
12 games. He's been injured twice in those 12 games. That's why I have his durability as a C. So every 6 games he's injured on average. I don't think that's super durable, right? That's why I have his durability there, if that makes sense. And JC Montana wants to know super deep. What's super deep, right? Everyone wants to know what super deep is. Super deep, I just classified it that way, and they're talking about this right here. So short game, I kind of consider like under 10 yards, basically. So I give him an A+ there. Intermediate is 10 to 20 for me. I give him an A++ there. He's fantastic there. You start going over like 20, 25 yards, that's deep. I consider that deep when you get to like the 30-yard range. He's not good there. Has not shown that he's good there. I don't think I'm not saying he can't be good there. I'm just saying so far he hasn't shown that he's good there. I think Brock Purdy is capable of throwing the ball 45 yards. He's an NFL quarterback. I've never said that Brock Purdy can't throw 45 yards. So in that 25, 30 to 40, 45-yard range, I call that deep. 40 probably would be deep. He hasn't been good there yet. He just hasn't. He's been below average in that range. Now, he can throw that far. He can throw 40 yards. Every NFL quarterback can. And to me, the fact that he can throw that far means that if he continues to work at it, he can probably improve there. And I expect with Brock Purdy's mindset, his mentality, that he's going to focus on it. He's going to work on it, and he probably will improve there. Super deep, which is anything over that. He doesn't have the ability, in my mind, to go past 45 yards. Maybe he'll get like 48, maybe like 50 one day. I don't see it going deep. I just think his arm strength's not. There's throws that go 60, 70 yards in this league. It's very infrequent. It's not that important, but I just don't think he can participate in that category. JC Montana says, Ryan, come on, big dog. Would you rather have a super deep thrower with no brains? I think that's a strange assumption. No, I would not rather have a big arm quarterback.
He's also not saying that he doesn't want the quarterback on the screen. He's just giving grades.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so that's kind of my next subject that I want to talk about. Like, I feel like all these grades are fair. I think it's very complimentary. Though I'm just pointing out his one weakness or his couple weaknesses. He's small, hasn't been very durable, and his arm strength's not that good. Those are his only weaknesses. And I still don't give him like an F. The guy doesn't have an F. But I mean, look at all these A's and B's, right? He's a good quarterback. He has a couple of weaknesses. He's not perfect like everybody else. So that brings me to my next topic, brother. Being honest about Brock Purdy. Like, why is it so hard to be honest about Brock Purdy? I want to get your take on this because I've none of this stuff, none of those grades that everyone just watched. I've always felt that way about Brock Purdy. I've always felt that way. Yet, if I talk about anything negative, oh, Brock Purdy, this is a bad throw. He missed this throw. Oh, you're a Brock Purdy hater. Why is it so hard for people, to be honest about Brock Purdy?
I think it stems down to a couple of reasons. One is the reason that I said earlier where people get muddled up, and that's the storyline. I think that the storyline is the reason where people might get, muddled up between what's going on film-wise, how you evaluate his play, and what's going on in the outside world in a way where Brock Purdy is consistently breaking historic records as a seventh-round rookie quarterback or now second-year quarterback who consistently continues to win. I think that that's the number one thing. I also think people don't necessarily like the nitpicking. When you see so many good things, people don't want to hear the bad things about their quarterback because that's, again, it's you want to hear the good stuff because you're winning games. Unfortunately, there's good and bad in every single quarterback's game. And being objective, it's our duty to kind of tell you guys the good and bad of every game and allow you guys to analyze it for yourselves. I think that, especially now with the 49ers, we're scarred at the quarterback position. We've been through quarterbacks since 2014, consistently, cycling out since Kaepernick kind of left. We've been cycling through quarterbacks trying to find an active solution. And unfortunately, the 49ers haven't found their franchise guy yet until they settled on Brock Purdy this offseason. And so with the fact that you have, your quarterback in Brock Purdy, that might be another reason where they have their franchise guy. There's not a necessarily reason to consistently critique him, understanding he's the guy who's going to be here. Maybe that's a reason. But Ryan, my most honest reason, I do not know. I honestly do not know why there is such a negative discourse, or why there's a negative discourse about analyzing both the good and bad of certain players. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, here's a perfect example. Akash posted this, like, oh, he's not getting credit for this throw. This is such a great throw. And I'm like, no, it's not. I watched it. When I watched it live, I'm like, it's not a good throw, dude. Like, and then I saw this tweet. I'm like, what's up with people? And I said, Brock is good to great at a lot of things. He played well overall. He hasn't lost. He's made some good throws. This is not one of them. Can we just have real conversations about Brock Purdy? That's all I'm asking here. A lot of fans, maybe someone were watching the show were like in here just going crazy for me to say this. And then JT O'Sullivan, who
did he say the same thing or something?
He said the same thing as me. Watch.
This is the view I want all of you.
He's going to run to the corner. I think the corner on defense down here to the bottom probably makes a mental error. Bit of a missed opportunity for a touchdown pass to the bottom. Right? 19 is going to go from the 1 to the new 2 post shift. He's going to run to the corner. I think the corner on defense down here to the bottom probably makes a mental error, doesn't get deep. Brock Purdy sees it, but the ball comes out a little high, a little soft, maybe catches a gust. Again, he's got color right in his face. I'm not saying it's an easy throw. In fact, I think it's impressive that he even sees it because it probably shouldn't be there. And I know it's a penalty. Okay, so it's going to work out eventually. But the fact that this corner at the bottom of the screen So right here, I'm going to guess that he probably should be getting depth the whole time because he.
I mean, I like the aggression.
Defender, they're in kind of the same space.
I love that, right?
So when we come
you're
out
aggressive,
here
you get things like
kind
pass interference calls.
Deep corner.
But this is what I was talking about.
The number 3 running a vertical as well to the middle of the field. It's certainly there. I don't think there's anything easy about this throw because he's got this big cat bearing down on him.
And watch Burford here.
You see all this color right in your face.
Burford gets smoked.
But
it's Aaron Donald.
Chuck it up. He just gets a little bit too much air under it. And the corner is able to kind of
too much air under it, right? You want to throw it right here. Boom. You need him right there.
Just want to throw it when you're that wide open.
Before
you almost
he
want
gets
to throw it right at him, as opposed to fade away. Yes, he gives him a shot. Yes, it's good vision. Yes, it's a penalty. I get it, but it's really a missed opportunity for a touchdown pass.
Right, and watch Burford right here, smoked. Yeah. But that's a tough assignment. But yeah, I mean, that was my thought when I saw the play live, and that's what I said. People just get so damn mad about it. I don't know. And then GTC here says, Ryan, I disagree. I think this was a good because it was aggressive. I like aggression. I love aggression, but the throw wasn't good, right? The decision to attack there was good. But if he hit him, like throws a dart when Debo's between the 5 and the goal line, he's wide open. That's a touchdown. So Brock probably missed like 4 possible like big plays, maybe 2 touchdowns in this game. Does that mean he's trash and I hate Brock Purdy? No. This is just honestly speaking about his game. I think he's probably had a C+ game still, despite, missing those opportunities because he's so good with the other stuff. But I just thought it's interesting, and it just kind of demonstrates the point, like that people just, for whatever reason, just can't seem to have honest conversations about Brock Purdy.
I think when you talk about this is a good example. And I think it's hard to see from the initial angle that Akash posted. And Akash does great stuff. Don't get me wrong. But when you see it from this angle, you can truly see when the receiver starts to separate and why this is a good play call. When you stack them up like that, it's the outside corner who has to now see the back leverage. He obviously doesn't notice the route until it's too late. You're leveraging this backside or this the safety here because you've got a post going one way and then a corner post going the other way. And so if you're able to, identify that route, it's a touchdown. Unfortunately, I'm not going to blame Brock Purdy for this play. I think this is a very tough throw because you have the defender coming in your face. So you're already backtracking what the arm strength Purdy has, which only further amplifies the importance of anticipation. And Purdy, on probably 80% of his throws, understands that he throws with very good anticipation on his throws. And so that is something that you see where he is able to, if he's able to anticipate, it's over the bucket in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Instead, it's just a little late, and that's why corner is able to get it. On the point of aggression, I'm a fan of aggression, but I also think aggression is overvalued. Aggression is good, but you want results, right? Like Brock Purdy in this game had a couple of downfield throws that should have been completed. One was over the head to Deebo Samuel that would have been a touchdown, not including this play. The other was to Brandon Ayuk that could have been a touchdown. Do you like the aggression on those plays? Absolutely. I love the aggression on those plays. But at some point, you want aggression to turn into results. And so that's where I value results more than aggression. This is a very difficult throw. I'm not going to fault Brock Purdy for this just because he's backpedaling and then he's going to have to throw it off his back foot. But this is a throw that, I don't think you can characterize this as a great throw because of what we just said.
Yeah, agreed, buddy. Agreed. I don't know. I just want to have an honest conversation. That's what you're going to get from me here, at least on this show. So yeah, man, I just wanted to talk about it. If somebody says, like, if anyone criticizes something about Brock Purdy, just understand, guys, that doesn't mean they hate the guy. That's kind of the point of this conversation. All right, man. I want to get your takes on what happened? Did I erase these things? All right, man. Let's go here. Give me your final predictions for this game. Where do you see this game going?
Where do I see this game going? That's a good question. Said it last week. I'll say it again and hope I don't eat my words. Dominance. I think the 49ers are going to dominate in this game. When you look at the matchup, the New York Giants are a team that's well coached and not as great on paper. When you look at the team, and they just got even worse on paper. I think that is another point that you have to point out. They just got worse on paper by losing a top edge rusher, by losing their top offensive, the two top offensive linemen on the left side. You lost your star running back too. And so when you look at it, where are the significant matchups that the the Giants are going to win? The one that I can honestly point out is Dexter Lawrence. That's the lone matchup that I think the 49ers don't have an advantage at over the middle. Apart from that, I think they have the advantage everywhere else. I'm expecting dominance, probably going to go with maybe around 31-10 or 31-13. I don't think the Giants are going to score that much in this game. I don't think it's going to be the comeback like they saw last week. And I don't think the 49ers put their foot off the gas. I think they score healthily again. I think that Wink Martindale might provide some tougher things. That's where I bring up coaching. But I think that this is going to be a win for the 49ers and a pretty comfortable one.
I'm going big on this one, Rohan. I'm going extreme here. Maybe I'm a little homer. I saw the Cowboys kick the crap out of the Giants 40-0. We are not the Cardinals. We're the 49ers. I have the 49ers winning humongously, probably their biggest win of the season. I got them 42-6. Yeah, I said it. 42-6. That's my prediction.
6 studies. Damn. Okay, there we go.
I could be wrong, obviously, right? But that's how I see it, man. It's going to be bad. I think a lot of people are going to be tuning out on this game. If you're not a 49ers fan, you're probably not going to want to watch this game past the third quarter, is my guess, because it's going to be a blowout. And that's also why I say Ronnie Bell's going to get his today. Hopefully that's the case, man. I think the Niners are going to go crazy. I think they're going to get 6 sacks. I think it's going to be a big day for the 49ers. I think backups are going to be playing. We might even see a little Sam Darnold in the fourth quarter, believe it or not. That's my thoughts on this game. Again, maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. The good news is we'll find out quickly here at about 5:15 Pacific Standard Time. Rohan, oh, you know what, man? We got a super chat, and I didn't even get it, man. I apologize.
Cool.
HR, thank you for giving Rohan a super chat. It says, been following your grind since day one, Rohan. I remember you paying to come out to training camp. Do you follow teams outside of NFL? Go Warriors. What are your college or professional plans?
Hey, first of all, I really appreciate the support. Thank you for the super chat as well. I mean, do I follow teams outside of the NFL? Yeah, I'm a pretty big basketball fan. So I follow the NBA in a very similar capacity to the NFL. It's just obviously not with as big of a profile. I'm a Bay Area kid, so I know the Warriors probably the best. Also, I like the UFC. That's probably my number 3 right now. That's creeping up there. College or professional plans? I'm currently in college. We'll see. Professional plans, don't necessarily know it right now, but college plans, doing a couple of things. This is definitely one idea I have. Have a couple of other interests. Technical side, some things as well. I've got a couple of different interests in here, but excited to continue the grind here. I mean, this is a big hobby of mine, and we'll see where it goes.
Right on, Ro. Give everyone that reminds you, it's in the details of the description. You can go click the link and follow Rohan, but give them a reminder. What's the name of your channel?
You search up my name, Rohan Chakravarthi. You're going to find my channel. A lot of content on there, including this stream itself. You can also search me up on Twitter and on 49ers Web Zone, where I write a lot of content for the 49ers. So a lot of different ways to find me. But Ryan, before we head on out, want to give you a shout out. Appreciate you for hosting today's show. Great one as always.
My pleasure, my guy. Hey, everyone watching, if just a reminder, I'm a real estate broker and mortgage broker in the state of California. I also sell solar. I have a solar business. Hit me up about all those things. Also, please go subscribe to the new channel. It's called You Should Do This. The link's also in the description. And then you can also go to Underdog Fantasy. That detail's in the description if you want to place your wager. Spend 30, maybe you win 6. If Rohan's right, then we all just give them a little, break them off a little bit, give them a little piece. Thanks so much for being here, man. Good show as always. Looking forward to this game tonight, and I'll see you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir.